to your glass 2 ounces of grapefruit juice and 2 ounces of
Alrighty. Here we go. If I can get this turned on. And I will do this. Okay, this is live 4 of the Catoosa Unified Development Code. I've got the map pulled up here, and I'm checking my live. Let's see. So, I'm double checking things 1 second. I have the maps and information I want ready to go. Okay, share this screen again. Catoosa invites public comment on the new Unified Development Code. You can go to Catoosa, cityofcatoosa.org and click on the Plan Catoosa graphic, and then Catoosa draft code for public comment. You can click that and follow along if you'd like. Last night we went over the comprehensive plan, and today I've done 2 lives going over the first part of the code. And I hope, let me check this. First part of the code. And I hope, if I am too quiet, somebody please say something. I think I can turn it up, but I don't want to turn it. It's too loud that way. Okay. I'm going to leave it here for now. Let's see. Okay, so this is where you can follow along, because I sometimes will zoom in and I won't zoom out, or I'll zoom out and I won't zoom in, and it's hard to read. We've been talking about, I want to do one little thing right here. Okay, before I start, I'm just reading this, kind of going over it. All my opinions are my own. Reading this is not to give anybody advice. I'm not an attorney. You have to get the information for yourself and use it as you need to. I'm just kind of going over it because I started to and I haven't completed it, so I thought, well, if I'm going to read through it, I guess I could do it online if somebody wants to read through it with me. And so I will say a lot in here, like as I'm reading it, I will try to come up with, in my head, like what would an example of that be, and so I might say that, and I'll say, with my understanding of what I'm reading. And I think a public document should be easy to understand for the public in general. Sometimes it can get kind of wordy, and there can be legalese. So, but it's not a perfect document. There's a couple of weird spellings and or misplaced words, but to each their own. Anyway, so this I think got me confused. This important opportunity for residents, businesses, and stakeholders to review the proposed code and give feedback. Jody King, Catoosa Director of Community Development, said the public comment period will remain open until February 2nd. And I don't know where I got that February they're going to vote on this. Maybe I got the dates confused or something in one of the meetings, but public comment will be, I guess, open until February 2nd. Tonight at the city council meeting, they said that it won't be till March that they will actually vote on it. And I think they said something about posting it in the paper. I'd have to go back and look at my note again for what date. But so it'll be in March. And so the next open house is tomorrow night from 5:30 to 7 at the library and community center. And I'll explain this again. It is not a sit-down meeting where someone is going to talk to you about this. You're not going to come into a meeting and then people are going to give presentations. You walk in, there's tables set up, there's posters set up, and there is a projector, and Jody and city people are there, and basically you go and you look at each of the posters and the maps and the information that they give you. You can like write down questions and give ideas or give opinions on little post-it notes. And if you want to go talk to the city people about details and stuff, they're available for you to speak to. So it's more like a walk-through open house. You can come and go. It's not one big long meeting. So it's good to read through this on your own as best you can and get your questions ready before you go. And they do have a link on that page, on the city page, that you can leave feedback. So if you can't make it, you can still leave feedback with this link. And I clicked on it, and this is where it takes you. Please provide your feedback, and then so let's get into it, because I don't want to be, I always keep saying I don't want to be on here very long, and I end up being over an hour. But I'm not, we'll see how far I get. The last bit that we were talking about in live 3, and I put the page number that I'm starting on tonight, page 75. We kind of went over definitions of the codes, the areas designated like rural, agriculture, high industrial, the residential codes, how they label the areas, and then per those labels they give you what's allowed and what's not allowed in them, and where homes can be built, and how much easement, like how much space needs to be between the road and the house, and where the property lines, all that kind of stuff. So I ended on this RV. I think I went through that because, let's see, yeah, okay, we ended with the RV stuff. So I wanted to start with agriculture uses. Let me blow it up a little bit. Okay. Cannabis growing. Lots shall be 10 acres or more. Okay, so okay, number 3, accessory uses and structures. I think I went over this a little bit, but basically it gets down to what accessory structures are. Okay. This section authorizes the establishment of accessory uses and structures that are incidental and customarily subordinate to primary uses. An accessory use or structure is an incidental and customarily subordinate to a primary use if it complies with the standards set forth in this section. All primary uses allowed in zoning districts shall be deemed to include those accessory uses, structures, and activities typically associated with the use, unless specifically prohibited in this section. Article 9, definitions. Identifies typical accessory use associated with principal use as a part of primary use definition. approved procedure. Generally, any of the accessory uses identified in this section may be allowed as accessory to an authorized primary use, provided that the proposed accessory use is allowed as a principal or accessory use in the base district or overlay district where proposed. The proposed accessory use or structure is consistent with the general and specific standards for accessory uses in the subsection. Okay, this goes over the use, like if it's to a specific use permit. Okay, I'm going to read every line like that. Subsequent to principal use. So they're saying if the accessory is a primary versus primary and what they need. Specific use permits. Interpretation of unidentified accessory uses and structures. The administrator shall evaluate and make determinations on applications for accessory uses that are not identified in this section on a case-by-case basis based on the following standards. The definition of accessory use in Article 9 definitions and the general accessory use standards and limitations established in Section D, general standards of all accessory uses and structures. The purpose and intent of the zoning districts in which the accessory use is located, the potential adverse effects the accessory use or structure may have on other lots compared with other accessory use permitted in the district, the compatibility of the accessory use with other primary and accessory uses permitted in the district. Here are their example of accessory uses and structures. Animal husbandry, carport, a community center / clubhouse, residential garage detached, storage sheds, home occupation, outdoor electric vehicle charging station, outdoor storage, outdoor display and sales, recycling collection center, sidewalk, or outdoor cafe. Okay, so there's what these accessory uses and structures are, and the P's, like we learned in the last thing, are permitted. P's with stars have additional information to go with them. S means special permits. And then if it's blank, it's not permitted. And so agriculture area, residential area, commercial area, industrial-ish, or special. Remember, our specials are the Old Town, which is the area along Cherokee, from the high school up to Bluff. That's considered Old Town, and I can click on that map again. Share the map. Some of this I'll just review. So this yellow area here is Old Town. There's Bluff, there's McNabb, there's 167, there's 66. So this area is considered Old Town, and this is where they want to make it more like downtown walkable places, cafes, like businesses on the bottom and living on the top type buildings, green spaces and sidewalks and smaller streets. So that is where Old Town is, and that's a special zoning area. It has special zoning stuff that they get to do. And PUDs are kind of scattered from what I remember on the other map, for to be special. Let's go back. Wrong one. Not that one either. Okay. Okay, back to the chart. So let's see. So we can have a carport in agriculture areas. can have it in residential areas. Commercial areas, no carports unless it's in special areas with a star. And these all have stars on that one. Need special permits for community center type things. Let's see. Permitted if you need to charge your electric vehicle. Outdoor storage is not included. Let's see, where's the sheds at? Yeah, storage sheds are permitted, but outdoor storage, whatever that means, not permitted in most of the residential. Alright, and you can go back and look at that chart. Let's see. All accessory uses and structures shall be subject to the general standards in this section, as well as any applicable additional standards and additional accessory use standards, and all standards applicable to the associated primary uses set forth in additional use standards. Size. All accessory uses and structures shall be clearly subordinate in area, extent, and purpose to the primary use or structure. So your shed cannot be bigger than your house. Or your carport can't be bigger than your house, which that would be an interesting look. Not violate the bulk, density, parking, landscaping, or open space standards of this ordinance when taken together with the primary use or structure. And there are limitations to like the percentages of buildings versus the size of the lot. It has to stay under, the square foot has to stay under a certain percentage. And that's in some of the charts from the earlier videos. So let's see, the floor of any detached accessory, oh, I forgot my lip balm, structure shall not exceed 40% of the floor area of the primary structure obtained from Rogers County Assessor's Office unless the property owner has documented proof to the contrary. The total combined floor area of all structures shall not exceed the maximum lot coverage for the zoning district in which it's located. The administrator may authorize a structure to exceed this percentage if the structure is used for a permitted agricultural use. Function. All accessory uses and structures shall directly serve the primary use for structure and be accessory to the clearly incidental to the primary use or structure. Timing. Accessory uses and structures shall not be constructed or established prior to the start of construction of the primary use or structure. Can't build your shed before your house, I guess. An accessory structure shall not be used until the construction of the primary structure is complete. Height. Accessory structures shall be limited to a maximum of height of 24 feet unless exempt from the height requirements in the ordinance. Location. Accessory uses or structures shall be located on the same lot as the primary use structure and shall comply with setback standards. In addition, accessory use standards. Permitted accessory structure shall not be located within platted or recorded easements. The administrator may authorize an accessory structure on a vacant lot if the structure is used for animal or crop production associated with agriculture use or used in conjunction with a park or community garden. Design compatibility, except where exempted. All accessory structures shall be designed to be aesthetically compatible with the primary structure. Compatibility shall be evaluated in terms of building materials, building orientation, building placement, building articulations, and building mass. Non-enclosed stables, gazebos, greenhouses, and carports 10 feet or less in height with a roof area of 120 square feet or less are exempt. from this compatibility requirement outside of special districts. Applicants for accessory structures are not exempt in accordance with this subsection who request exemptions from the design compatibility requirements shall demonstrate screening methods or design features that will be used to minimize any potential adverse effects on neighboring properties. Okay, so you gotta screen things if they ask you to. Ownership, accessory use, or structure shall be owned or operated by the same person as the primary. So, your mom can't build a shed in your backyard if you own the house? I don't know. Additional accessory use standards. Okay, animal husbandry. Honeybees, okay, may be kept according to the following conditions. A maximum of 2 hives may be kept per parcel. A flyaway barrier at least 6 feet in height shall shield any part of a property line that is within 25 feet of a hive. The flyaway barrier shall consist of a solid wall, solid fence, dense vegetation, or combination thereof. A consistent supply of water shall be provided for all the hives. Hive enclosures shall be located in the rear or side yard at least 25 feet from any dwelling on a neighboring parcel and at least 10 feet from any sidewalk, roadway, or alley. No honeybees shall be kept on parcels with more than one dwelling. Does not include an accessory dwelling unit. Chicks and ducks and geese. No. Chickens, ducks, and other fowl may be kept according to the following conditions. A maximum of 4 hens or other fowl may be kept per parcel. Roosters are prohibited. Slaughtering chickens outdoors is prohibited. Chickens shall be provided and remain within a fully enclosed shelter with an optional covered fence enclosure in the rear yard. Enclosures shall be located at least 25 feet from any dwelling on a neighboring parcel. No chickens shall be kept on parcels with more than one dwelling. Does not include an accessory dwelling unit. Carports in any required front yards. The purpose of this provision is to allow carports to be erected within the required front yard when no other feasible option exists on the qualifying residential lots. Is in keeping with the existence, location, and design of other carports on other adjoining lots in the same neighborhood or street. Will not cause slight obstructions to motorists on or entering the street or abutting neighborhood. Will not cause a negative visual impact on the streetscape of the neighborhood. Is compatible with the architectural style of the dwelling and the predominant architectural style of the neighborhood. So, all the carports in Rolling Hills would have to be a 50s or 60s mod style. I don't know. They're just metal carports out here anyway, as far as I know. Most of them are anyway. Let's see. Any carport that's permitted to occupy a portion of the required front yard shall comply with the following restrictions. Here are carport restrictions. Freestanding carports that are not structurally integrated with the roof of the principal structure shall not exceed 18 inches of separation from the principal structure. So if you get a metal carport to be placed on your driveway, you have to make sure that it is within 18 inches of the roof. Oh, I mean from the structure. So, except for the roof, carports shall be painted to match the replicate the color of the trim areas of the primary structure residence. So if you've got a blue house, your carport needs to be blue. Or if you got blue trim, I don't know. If you have wood trim, like cedar or something, do you have to get it painted to be? Does it have to be red to match the cedar? I don't know. Carports shall have a roof that matches the existing pitch of the primary structure, and utilize shingles that subsequently match the color of the shingles used on the principal structure. The administrator may approve an alternate design to satisfy this requirement. Carports shall have dimensions no greater than 20 feet in length by 20 feet in width for lots with primary structures originally designed with 2-car garages, and no greater than 12 feet in width for lots with principal structures originally designed with single car. So my single car garage, which it's not a garage anymore, if I were to put a carport out in front, I could not get anything bigger than 12 feet. Okay. Let's see. Residential garage detached. If directly fronting a street, the maximum size shall be a 2-car garage. Design shall be compatible with the primary residence on the property. Garage shall not be located forward of the primary structure. So, let's see. So, best you can't put your garage in front of your house. Setback shall be the same as any permanent accessory on the lot for MX and MF districts. What's MX and MF? Mixed use? Probably. Mixed use and multifunctional districts, which that's kind of a new, like, I understand those, but they haven't been used yet that I remember when I'm going through this. Residential garages shall be placed to the side, set back at least 10 feet from the primary facade or rear of the primary structure, or the center of the complex in case of a large MF development. Multifamily. That's what it means. Mixed and multifamily, okay. Home occupation. A home occupation may be permitted as accessory to any principal dwelling units districts that permit residential uses, subject to the following standards. The home-based business shall be conducted by a resident of the primary dwelling. The business or service located within the dwelling shall not exceed 40% of the floor area of the house or 40% of the combined building area of all structures on the lot. Activities shall be wholly conducted within either the primary structure or any detached accessory structure on the lot. The principal persons providing the business or service shall reside in the dwelling on the premises. Only one additional employee other than the resident of the primary dwelling unit is permitted at the home-based business at any time. So, I remember when I was a kid, I grew up in Glenpool, a lady converted her garage to be a salon. Her husband did it for her. So if she were to move here and she had set up like two or three, if she had set up her bay plus another, she could have one employee. But if she had 3 bays, she could not allow another hairstylist to come in to work from her garage salon. Okay. As I understand it. This is how I'm reading it. This is how I understand it. Let's see. Neighborhood compatibility. The home-based business shall not cause any change in the external appearance of the existing buildings and structures on the property. All vehicles used in connection with the home-based business shall be of size and located on the premises in such a manner so that the casual observer or person of normal sensibilities will not be able to detect any sign of the premises being used as a home occupation. No vehicle larger than 1 ton shall be kept on the premises or shall be parked on the street. Okay. Parking of vehicles to accommodate the off-site employee or permitted customers shall be limited to the driveway of such premises or along the curb immediately adjacent to such premises. What did I do? Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Come back. Oh, not too far. Okay. I hit the wrong button. Okay. There shall be no advertising devices on the property or other signs of the home-based business that are visible from off the premises, other than advertising located on vehicles in accordance with the city's sign ordinance. So the sign ordinance is going to there shall be no advertising devices on the property or other signs of the home-based business that are visible from off the premises. So if I had a small jewelry making business in my house and I put a sign out in my front yard, if you can read it from up the street, it's not permitted. That don't make any sense. Other than advertising located on vehicles and equipment. Okay. Property shall contain no outdoor display of goods or services that are associated with the home occupation. Outside storage is prohibited. For the purpose of this section, the parking of one enclosed trailer in a driveway is not considered outside storage. So, if someone likes to make art, like yard art, like, I don't know, and they're not allowed to display it in their front yard, so people can see it and buy it. Okay, what page am I on? I need to be marking some of these. 81, okay. Let me do something quick. I'm going to comment stuff I want to go back to. Okay. Let's see. The home-based business shall not create traffic or parking congestion, noise, vibration, odor, glare, fumes, or electrical or communications interference that can be detected by normal senses off the premises, including visual or audible interference with radio or television reception. All home-based businesses are subject to all ordinances applicable in the city of Catoosa. Oh, really? So, say somebody is dumping chemicals down the street because they're taking apart a vehicle to sell it for scrap. Okay. Or their scrap is unloading and loading of it is blocking traffic all the time. Okay. Prohibited home occupations. The following uses, because of their effects on the surrounding residential areas, shall not be permitted as home occupations. Outdoor auto repair or motorized implement repair. So, okay, so you can't do outdoor auto repair from your home in a residential area for people. Dance, music, or other types of tutoring instruction where more than 6 students are being instructed at one time. Okay, so you can't have a dance class with more than 6 students in your driveway. Commercial kennel or breeding facility. Dental offices or medical offices. It's probably a state regulation thing too, wouldn't it be? The dental. I'll go to my neighbor, the dentist, in his garage. The painting of vehicles, trailers, or boats. So you can't have a painting. Private schools. What is having a private school in your home have to do with how a city is? What dictates a private school by this? Is it in the Article 6? We'll see, I guess. I don't know. It's so weird. This is where I start getting aggravated because just like there's no definition. What's a private school? Are they saying like you can't have multiple classrooms in your home, or is that included with homeschooling, or I just don't know what private school in your home has to do with how a city is laid out. Maybe because of traffic? I don't know. It's just not specific enough. Motor vehicle towing operation. So you can't run a tow service out of your home. There you go. Barber or beauty shops having more than 2 chairs. So you can have a beauty shop. You can style hair. You can have a friend that does hair. You can allow someone to come in and do hair too. But no more than that. Commercial welding shop. Nursing homes. Any other home-based business that, in the opinion of the administrator, will have negative effects on the neighborhood. Nursing homes. I guess they're not including like home living. What are those called? Oh, what are those called? They're not nursing homes, but there's like a small group of people that live in the house. That are cared for. We looked at one when my grandma was still alive, and it was in the middle of a neighborhood, and they just had the bedroom set up for the individuals. Care home? I don't know. Anyway, outside storage shall meet the standards for commercial uses. Get a little bit closer here. To my computer anyway. Outside display and sales. The use is not permitted with any landscape buffer area as required by Article 6 development standards. Limited to no more than 5% of the building area containing primary use. If along the storefront no building entrances shall be blocked, and a minimum of 5-foot clear pedestrian passageway is provided along with the public sidewalk or walkway. Use of surface parking area is at the administrator's discretion. It shall only be for temporary display and sales for seasonal items. If permitted to be displayed for more than 14 continuous days, then they shall be screened to meet the standards of screening outside storage areas in the commercial use section. Daily display on a rolling cart or stand that is brought in at the end of the business day is permitted. Sidewalk outdoor cafe parklets. In all districts in which a sidewalk cafe is allowed, the occupancy of a public sidewalk or parkway for a sidewalk cafe shall be permitted under the following conditions. Use of any public sidewalk is subject to approval of an easement or right-of-way use agreement per city ordinance. The sidewalk to be used for outdoor seating must be adjacent and contiguous to the restaurant. I hate that word. There's a lot of words on here I don't like. A sidewalk cafe may not be enclosed by fixed fencing or other structures unless necessary to comply with the requirements to serve alcohol per Oklahoma ABLE Commission regulations. A sidewalk cafe must be open to the air, however, it may be covered with a canopy. There shall be 4-foot wide unimpeded sidewalk remaining for the pedestrian flow for the face of the curb and the area of sidewalk cafe seating. The sidewalk cafe shall be set back a minimum of 5 feet from any driveways and alleys, and 6 feet from intersections with no curb extensions or bulb outs at the intersections. All curbs, alleys, sidewalks, and public rights-of-ways adjacent to sidewalk cafes shall be kept in a clean and orderly condition. Sidewalk outdoor cafes, parklets may occupy the on-street parking directly adjacent to the subject property. Approval by Administrator and Public Works is required prior to occupancy. I wonder if it gets into food trucks. Just curious. Temporary uses and structures. The section allows for the establishment of certain temporary uses of limited duration and special events, provided that such uses comply with the standards in this subsection and are discontinued upon the expiration of a set time period. Temporary uses and special events shall not involve the construction or alteration of any permanent building or structure. Approval procedure. Any use listed in this section may be permitted as a temporary use provided where they indicated on the temporary uses and structures table, and the proposed temporary as obtains a specific use permit in accordance with the requirements in Article 3 General Review Procedures. The proposed temporary use is consistent with the general and specific standards for temporary uses and structures in this section. Okay. Construction office, construction related storage yard, temporary real estate sales office. Okay, so those temporary structures that aren't permanent. Model home, festivals and civic events. Includes farmers markets, carnivals, circus, amusement rides. Here we go again, like, they're all permitted. That's what all those P's mean. Like, they can be permitted if you got a piece of property, you got 20 acres on the edge of the city and you want to host a circus. I guess you're permitted to with the right, I don't know, garage sales. Oh, here we go. You can do that anywhere but commercial areas and industrial areas. Garage sales. But again, and maybe it's just me not understanding like code, but I feel like a city ordinance ordinances and stuff like that dictate, you know, the your property and how it looks and all that stuff. Ultimately, what does a zoning have to do with those types? Like, why does zoning have to do with when someone has a garage sale? I don't get that. I don't understand that connection. Unless ordinances have always been tied to zoning, maybe. I don't know. I guess it's something I just never looked into or never felt like the need to until I started reading all this. It's just like, to me, like a comprehensive plan and building codes and stuff like that, they're supposed to be about growth and, you know, planning for the future development of a city and making sure that someone can't, you know, have a machine shop in the middle of a neighborhood. I understand that, but what do garage sales have to do with that? What do temporary storage containers, seasonal fruit and vegetable sales? I mean, if I have an apple tree in my backyard and I have a bushel of apples and I sell it to a friend, or I have an apple pie business or something, like, what does it have to do with the development of a city? It's just, I feel like there needs to be some separation, and maybe that's not how things are. I don't know. It just garage sales just what does garage sale limitations have to do with planning a city? I understand city ordinances, but not planning. Okay, anyway. It seems like a lot of redundant work for people, too. But I digress. Where are we at? 84. Oh, I was hoping to get to 100. General standards for all temporary uses and structures. All temporary uses or structures shall meet the following general requirements unless otherwise specified in this ordinance. Temporary use structures should not be detrimental to property or improvements in the surrounding area or public health, safety, or general welfare. The temporary use shall comply with all applicable general and specific regulations to this section. Temporary uses and structures, unless otherwise expressly stated. Permanent alterations, any alterations that do not comply with temporary use criteria and timelines outlined in the ordinance on the site are prohibited. All temporary signs associated with temporary use or structure shall be properly permitted and removed when activity ends or the permit expires, whatever occurs. I guess the garage sale thing has to do with like garage sale signs, and basically them like they don't want you having a business out your house of garage sale stuff. I get that, but again, what does that have to do with developing a city for future growth, building a neighborhood? It's just trying to put two and two together. The temporary use structure shall not violate any applicable conditions that apply principle to temporary use. Okay, if the property is undeveloped, it shall contain sufficient land area to allow the temporary use or structure to be accommodated. I'm just gonna read something. Some of the stuff I don't feel like I need to read out loud. It's just basically like saying what the temporary things can and can't do. Tents and other temporary structures shall be located so as not to interfere with the normal operations of any permanent use location on the property. Shall be anchored and meet the requirements of the building official, including the fire rating. Off-street parking, including the designation of the off-street parking spaces, shall be adequate to accommodate the proposed temporary use. Okay, so like if a school has an event and they need more parking, then that's available. Or I don't know where the casino comes in on all of this. Because the casino borrows the high school parking, but the high school has a gravel parking area. I don't know. Additional standards, construction field office and construction storage yard. This is limited to on-premise construction. I don't want to get into that. Temporary real estate, festivals, civic events, circus, carnival, and amusement rides. Civic events and special events may be conducted within existing use and ancillary to that use, provided it meet the following criteria. Nothing within this section shall regulate or prevent an individual residential property owner from conducting activities normally associated with residential uses, including outdoor parties and gatherings. Okay, so it doesn't include like parties. You can have your outdoor grill and bouncy house, I guess. In addition, such outdoor activities shall be subject to other regulations and ordinances of the city which regulate orderly conduct within the neighborhood and take into consideration the health, safety, and public welfare of adjacent property owners. The event is carried on for a period not to exceed 7 consecutive days. Applications for extended periods of time are subject to administrative approval. Retail sales may be conducted with the primary activity including arts, crafts, food, and other items. Charitable and nonprofit organizations may conduct retail sales for fundraising purposes in any zoning district. Assemblies are performed out of doors in temporary shelters or tents. The permit is obtained in accordance with the provisions provided herein. Garage sales. No more than 3 garage sales with any one calendar year may occur for each property address. The duration of the sale shall not exceed 72 hours. The next garage sale shall not occur until 7 consecutive calendar days have passed. Again, what do garage sales have to do with city expansion, future growth? City ordinances, yeah. A zoning plan? Nah. That's page 86. I'm going to add that to the comments. Now, I'm not saying I want to have multiple garage sales. I don't. I might have one every 5 years. But I don't know. I just think 3 is a very arbitrary. I don't know. Are they going to actually come count your garage sales? I understand if you just set up and stay there forever, but like, what if you want to have one a month? That's 12, and that's 1 a month for 2 days. What would be the problem? Okay. Temporary storage containers. Temporary storage containers may be allowed for residential and commercial moving or remodeling. Temporary storage containers shall be placed on a driveway or parking lot at the furthest point from the street. Temporary storage containers cannot be placed on any public right-of-way or grassy areas in the front yard. Each residential lot shall be limited to 2 temporary storage containers at a time, no more than twice per calendar year, to be placed no longer than 10 consecutive days each time unless otherwise approved by administrator. Each non-residential lot shall be limited to 2 temporary storage containers at a time, no more than twice per calendar year, to be placed no longer than 20 consecutive days unless otherwise approved. Does this include dumpsters? Or just storage? Okay. If used during remodeling, then temporary storage containers shall be removed 10 days of final inspection, certified occupancy insurance. Seasonal sales. Outdoor seasonal sales are temporary uses which include but are not limited to snow cones, Christmas tree sales, pumpkin sales, plant sales, fresh produce sales, and similar uses. Outdoor seasonal sales are not intended to include the sale of manufactured items such as furniture, bedding, automobile parts, or household goods. It shall not also include fireworks. The following standards shall apply. The maximum duration of a single sales permit is 15 days. Single seasonal sales permit is 15 days. The only one sale is permitted per season on any single lot. Such a limitation shall not apply to farmers markets and similar uses. On a developed lot, why is a farmers market a special case? Really, I mean, I don't know. On a developed lot, the maximum area for seasonal sales shall be no greater than 30% of any surface parking area. Such limitation shall not apply to farmers market, farm direct sales, or similar uses. Outside displays shall not block any sight triangles or fire lanes. On undeveloped lots, pre-existing access to parking may be gravel and dust-free, so long as it's maintained in good condition. New access or parking must be approved surfaces. Oh, here we go. Article 6, what I've been wanting to get to for so long. Applicability development standards shall apply as follows. 1.1 New construction. All development standards shall apply. 1.2 Change of use. No change in square footage. Parking standard in section 6.3.2 shall apply. 1.3 Addition of parking with or without building addition or change in use. Standard section 6.3.2 Parking standards shall apply to the extent feasible. No additional nonconformity shall be created nor an existing nonconformity made worse. 1.4 Exterior remodel standards in section 2 shall apply. Okay, these are the... Hold on. Oh, okay. These are basically, this is the outline. I was like, wait a second, this is okay. I'm gonna have to go to bed soon. Let me look at my time. Okay, I'm in a minute or an hour for, so I wonder if I should start with section 6 tomorrow. That might be better, since it's like gonna be a whole thing. Glance through it real quick. So So it's going into details of how buildings need to be laid out. Organizing multiple buildings. Oh. Okay, I might wait till tomorrow to get into that. How big is section 6 anyway? I might take up the rest of the design of gas pumps. Facade designs. Roof thing is kind of weird too. Okay, yeah, I think we'll start with 6 tomorrow, so can get into the details. So let me go back. Article 6, Development Standards, starts at page 88. So that's where we're going to end tonight. And I will try to get up and get started again. I don't know. Let's see, on page 89 of 228, I do not know if I will get done with it before the meeting. More than likely, I'll only do 2 tomorrow, and see how far I get with Article 6. But if I don't, I will continue until I finish after the meeting, because, hey, February 2nd, I guess, is when they'll close public comment as far as that goes. But I just encourage everybody to try to read what they can and study, especially if you're a landowner in the city, and especially if you have plans to build a house, or, I mean, there's already been a situation where it's affected an RV park in the city, and, you know, I'm not going to go into the details because I don't want to get the story all mixed up again, because it's been a while. But, you know, it's just, I don't know. I just don't understand what one has to do with the other. I understand city ordinances, and I understand zoning development and all that kind of stuff, but I don't know why they're intertwined like that, especially with garage sales, and the fact that you have to, if you want to build in a certain area, you have to make sure there's a big giant brick wall and trees in front of it to block off stuff. I mean, I don't know. I was just looking around tonight at the businesses that are at, like, I don't see any giant walls or screens or anything blocking off people's view from bay doors, and I don't know. But I think if people can take pride in their city and do the best they can, but I don't think they should be burdened by the government to do it. And there I go, ranting again on my opinions. And I need to save those for another day, because that's not what this is about. So, anyway, I'm going to get off here and go to bed, and try to get up tomorrow and get this going again. Everybody have a good night, and tomorrow we will start with Article 6. Stay warm. See you tomorrow.